Recreation first, right? All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Call our meeting to order. Chris, if you do the roll, please.
Yes. Yana Carlson.
Here.
Todd Levieri.
Here.
Michael Chen.
Here.
Chris Labrace is here. Victor Alvarez. Here. Maria Weingarten. Robert Hamill.
Here.
James Yao. Nick Matrakis.
Here.
Jan Schaefer.
Here.
Steve Doka.
Here.
Alan Bedaines.
Here.
All right, just James. You want to give him a train minute?
Yeah, that's fine.
We're gonna-
We don't have votes tonight, so we're fine.
We'll give him a train minute.
Okay. We can get right into it. Who's up first? Tiger, how are you? I heard you're not feeling well.
I've done better, but thank you.
No, you know what? There were no minutes to approve. Didn't want to say that out loud. Get in trouble from the boss over there. Okay, yeah, go ahead, John.
Good evening.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
As you know, I'm John Howe, Director of Parks and Recreation. To my left, your right, is Ryan Restiva, the Superintendent of Parks. And on the other side is Zach Philippus, the Assistant Recreation Director. So we'll start right in. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it. Our team, very simply, has had a few changes over the year. Very briefly, Nancy John has come into the rec department, into the office. Jeff Manila has come from the highway department over to the parks and is Ryan's assistant. And just recently, Marcy Rand is overseeing Lapham Community Center, which is a great addition to us. With Aggie planning on retiring in the near future, this is going to work out great. So with that, right now, I think we got the best staff ever. The parks maintenance. Drivers in the park maintenance for the increase of 3.2%. Salaries, which also include full-time salaries, but also overtime salaries with the full-time. And grass treatments, again, it feels like I've been saying that for the last 10 years, and it's true. Projected that our products with grass seed and fertilizer would probably go up about 9%. We're looking for a 7% increase because we're going to pull all the small area fertilization in-house with Jeff Manila, who's a licensed applicator. We think we can do a better job in-house and we can save some money. So we're looking for 7% there. Very briefly, one thing that came up in the Board of Selectmen when we were getting spring tennis court resurfacing done at Mead Park, a yearly thing, was the thought we should look at seeing if we raised rates for the people that play tennis, if that could cover that cost. Very simply, we looked at it, we'd probably double in the membership cost in order for that to be completely pulled out. It's either that or we'd have to raise, every person that played would be having to pay a $20 guest fee. So with that said, the guests who pay $15 already would have to go up to $35, and our people that held the memberships would have to pay $20 each day. So at this point in time, we don't recommend doing that, because if we start doing that, we see it happening to all our programs. Do we start charging for using a field? Every bit of the way, so right now, so I'll keep going unless you.
Well, I guess the question might be, could you do a little bump?
We definitely could do a little bump.
Be zero or all the way. It could be.
Right now, the money that comes in for the memberships goes into the self-sustaining fund.
Mm-hmm.
So that money stays in the self-sustaining fund, except for $100,000 that comes back to the town each year. So, and used for new programs. So there'd have to be a change on how that money is spent.
This is the conversation that I was having with Zach and even Michael Chen. I think, the Board of Education has these, what do they call them? Now I'm having a a mind flip on the internal they're not, what? Enterprise funds, thank you. They have enterprise funds and those enterprise funds are used to build up for capital expenditures within that area. And I know there's some concern about bypassing a budget appropriation, but I think there are ways to put controls on that, but to me, that makes a really good tracking mechanism for, people that want to know, is Waveney sort of like, what are we contributing back to the capital fund? So I think it's something to look at, and we can figure out ways to put guardrails around not, bypassing this appropriation process. So,
Okay.
and I talked to Michael about it briefly, so we just need to.
Okay. But would you consider increasing the fee 3% or something?
Oh, with that, the fees we already
Yeah, we
talked.
got that. Okay. Yeah,
That's
okay.
not it. It's just,
Going either way.
yeah, I just like it to stay with, because when it goes into a general pool and you're not really tracking what you're using that money for.
Right.
If you could raise it for tennis and then it goes to, the turf fields or something.
Yeah. Yep, I got you.
Yeah, that's my main concern that I talked to Deanna about, just making sure that when the money comes in, it's being allocated to the appropriate places that it was supposed to be allocated to.
Oh, back to where it was used.
Right,
I think.
correct.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Okay.
Rather than having all the activities support all the other activities.
Exactly. They'd have to support themselves.
Are there any activities that are heavily subsidized and that, in fact, they're not popular, but we need to not overcharge for them,
We're
like program for kids or stuff like that?
We're the best value in town by a long shot, even with the scholarships we offer and everything else. We try to keep our rates as low as we can. So every program we run, we try to make a little bit of profit. So we're not running anything in the red, but
So there's nothing that's being run in the red.
No,
That depends upon the pool, the general pool, to help it out.
correct. Whereas, there was a discussion, like at Board of Selectmen, Amy's concerned about, the Waveney and the rentals at Waveney, and is like, well, is it really supporting, is the rental of the property and the wear and tear on the building really being supported by the rentals? If you did enterprise fund accounting on those things, you'd know that. You'd know how much, and you could really annually look and say, how much money did this program make and what can I put to refurbish Waveney House because that's how the cafeteria fund is run with the Board of Ed. That's how the facilities rental fund is used at the Board of Ed. All the money that's made from the rentals of those buildings goes back to buying or the cafeteria fund. It goes back to buying kitchen equipment and all that kind of stuff. So it's a different way to look at a capital budget. It's saying, can the rentals of the tennis court help offset refurbishments of the tennis court on a capital basis?
Right. Is there a risk that because you now would have these silos,
Mhm.
that one silo gets overfilled because it's so popular, and that you can't possibly use that money,
They'd have to-
and then
You think they'd have to balance it?
And you could do sweep. I mean, you could probably do
Well,
a
how would-
sweep
you'd
of the
have to
enterprise.
reduce the fees.
You could sweep the
Well-
enterprise fund too, because that's what we're doing. We're taking $100,000 out now. If you see something's really building up and you don't need it, you could sweep it as
Right, but if the value premise to the users
Mhm.
is, if you pay a fee for this activity, it
Yep.
stays in your activity.
Yeah.
Pay a pickleball fee, it stays in pickleball.
Right.
If pickleball overflows, because
Yeah.
it's the most popular thing on earth, what do you do with the excess money? Because now you've told the people who paid into it
Yep.
that we're going to use it for your benefit.
Yeah, I would imagine the fee structure would be set so that doesn't happen, or, you can lower the fees.
yeah, you'd be raising in lower fees.
Yeah.
Most likely you wouldn't raise them as much as you go along.
Right.
That type of thing. I think, it's easy to do over a year or so.
Yeah, I see the argument for wanting to track things and being able to say, does this activity contribute? But I also like the fact that it's a general fund and it go to support where the support is needed within the universe of Park and Recs. But
There's arguments for both.
Does the fund actually ever pay for repairs to any of the facilities? So for pickleball, for example, or for paddle, but
No, right now it doesn't.
Not at all. Yeah, yeah, okay. All right. well,
This is your capital budget.
No,
This
I
is-
know, I'm just
I mean,
saying.
this is-
I know, but not everything's $100,000. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's a
but I mean,
$5,000 fix.
yeah.
In this, could the fund fix, if it's gonna get the usage, it's gonna get the wear, and the wear needs
Absolutely.
repair, and the
Yeah.
repair could go.
Yeah. I personally like that way of budgeting. It's the way a corporation kind of looks at things, I mean, I just think that, this is I think, and for Zach, I mean, let's just be honest, Zach would love to increase some of the offerings within the parks, could we long-term, have enough money built up to, like the pavilion conversation we had last year, or like big long-term strategic thinking. Is New Canaan a town that wants a community center that the rec department would oversee for summer programming? I mean, that's a very big,
Yep.
but
There's some towns out there that use their programs for any capital infrastructure
Yeah.
programs. It doesn't come from the taxpayers per se. Sometimes it comes from renting the fields, when they'll rent them out during the season.
Mhm.
So
It's kinda
they
like-
can
yeah,
make
you're like
money.
the
as long as
Canaan
you have
Athletic
the
Foundation
flexibility
fund is.
that yes, the money would primarily be used to support that activity. But if there's excess and we want to do something else, we should have the flexibility to move it around.
I think you do.
we
We
do.
do
we-
now.
Yeah.
But if we have
Yeah.
these strict silos, we would, depends how hard
How
the silo
strict,
is.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the governance on that?
Well, I mean, there would be you guys. I mean, that it would have to, I mean, it would
Okay.
still, we'd have, again, we haven't like fleshed out all at the Board of Ed, it's the Board of Ed that has that oversight. And, we would vote on, do we want to buy the ovens for the cafeteria, or put it in the budget, so,
Well, nothing wrong with doing it for a year or two. You're not gonna build up much of a balance in a short period of time and see where you are.
True.
Not that we'd do it, but we'd always be in that, we'd hate to say, okay, we need money to build this.
Yeah.
So we're gonna raise summer.
Would
camp
come to us for a
prices up too
transfer,
much.
I
There's
assume.
a lot to it.
It would come to us for a
Need to figure
transfer
out.
conversation.
Yep.
Before you leave this page, so I just want to make sure I follow what happened here. So I was wondering about the $100,000 salary contingency. So what happened? That's a credit ticket? Okay.
Yes, in rec administration, we always had $100,000 offset that went towards this.
Yeah.
It's now going someplace else, and I'll have to ask Ian for help on where
Well,
they're putting it now.
Yeah, so it's
It's
not,
still coming to the town.
the budget
so to
book
say.
the budget book doesn't have it. It still has the 100,000 in here. That's why it's 18%.
It is in the operating budget for the general fund.
Mhm.
It's just being shown as revenue versus, it's counting, instead of a contra salary account, it's revenue coming in. So on the revenue line for the town, there's $100,000 coming in under recreation.
Okay, but on this, it just shows it as an expense. Not on that, but in the budget book, has $100,000 salary
Under Park and
adjustment.
Recs, under Park and Recs,
Mhm.
it's transfer in, transfer out.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's coming out of their expense into our revenue.
Basically, the increase to zero, or 1%.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. All right. All right.
Yeah, hey, I just want to caution, I think it's a good idea to have flexibility, but I caution against if you give it too much flexibility and all of a sudden is the rec department a profit center? And if it becomes a profit center, then you worry about, well, then would they charge the members or weddings an exorbitant amount to offset some of the capital costs associated with something else? So I've seen where it works well with this flexibility to help other programs, but also you don't want to start doubling and tripling the membership costs or weddings.
Yeah,
costs.
that's right. That's right.
So
No,
we
it
gotta
is what you
make sure
said.
there's
It-
controls on that.
It's a good deal. We want to keep it a good deal.
Yeah.
Let's not lose sight of that, right? Michael,
Right.
that's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's right.
Correct.
That's
Because
right.
then the
Okay.
communities can be disenfranchised if that's the case.
Of course.
But it
Yeah.
also helps you make decisions on where do you want to reinvest? Like,
Right.
let's be honest, like if, you're having huge usage in pickleball, Is it like, is that where, maybe that's where our next capital dollar, like it
Right.
might help in the budgeting process because you say, what is the community really wanting?
That's right. Well, that's exactly, if you invest back into the program that gave you the money, there's no issues, right? But if you take a lot of money, let's say from pickleball, but the course become really not maintained, but you spend a lot of money on something else, then that's when the concern would come in.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's keep jogging.
So are you good with administration with the 0.88?
Yes.
Going into Waveney, which is really Waveney House, in their subcommittee, we had questions about why we went up 14.2%. So I delved into that a little bit. Last year, and I don't know why, we projected the salary at just under $57,000, where it should be up, or should have been up around $70,000. So that's why we've gone back up. So last year's our decrease of 15.62 wasn't a good decrease.
Is that for the wedding coordinator?
That's not for the wedding coordinator. Her salary falls under self-sustaining.
Okay, this is the,
Maintenance guy that's there, the custodian
Okay.
that works there. I don't know exactly what happened, but now we're on the right track. So doesn't help our percentage numbers, that's for sure. So
Was he underpaid in 2026?
he was definitely not underpaid. I really don't know why we came in with a $56,000 request for his salary, because it's way down below. I looked through last year's budget book, did not see my notes there. I don't know.
It says year to date, we've spent 36,000 for that line. So that would,
That would,
yeah,
Pro-
that would
that
get us
wouldn't be
closer
quite
to
the-
70. Okay.
yeah. Yep. So.
When did we okay, this is only one person, right? Never mind. I was thinking it was, we switched
Yes.
people.
We switched them and we had some issues there, but that wouldn't have worked out that way. So that's why I don't know.
Okay.
So if we're good, we'll go into paddle tennis. Now, paddle tennis reduced by -2%. Strictly IT costs have gone down a little bit. Otherwise, will stay the same. This is another example where basically the $25,000 is used for the upkeep of the courts. Every year we tighten screens, we resurface one court. So that's where that's used.
I have a general question on fees we collect on paddle tennis, regular tennis. Do we charge in-town people the same as we charge out-of-town people, or do we charge a little more for people who are not residents?
We charge differently. So in town, you could have a membership, whether it's an individual membership or a family membership. Out of town people pay a guest fee of $15 a time that they come. In general, and I say in general because there's a few exceptions, we do not have any out of town memberships. Only memberships we really have out of town is if somebody retires, they move out of town to Norwalk, but they still want to come play with their friends, that type of thing.
So like out of town people can come play, they can't really come play
They
paddle
can't, regularly they can't come unless they're a guest of
of someone.
someone here, yeah. And that goes for paddle tennis, etc. So park buildings, the main driver in park buildings is a 10% increase in electricity. And with that, it is a lot of electricity. That electricity there is for both the Orchard Field and the Water Tower turf fields, 1, 2, and 3. So that's the big driver there. Other than that, we were able to reduce property repairs and maintenance and supplies by just about $6,500.
For those lights on the field, are they only operated when people are using the field?
Say that happens all the time. The only thing that could happen is if today was the day during the season, practice is supposed to go till 9 o'clock and the people leave at 8. We do set them up automatically, but we set them up on their practice and their game schedule. But if at the last minute, for some reason, a game got canceled, yes, the lights could be running, but in general, no.
Many towns use sensors for that kind of thing.
motion sensors.
Yeah.
The reason, I don't know of anybody that does. The one problem you run into is you don't want to have all of a sudden the lights go off if there's no
Like my
movement,
office.
because it's a big, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know anybody that's using sensors. This system works well that way. There is a little bit of a surge when the lights are first coming on, so you don't really want them coming on and off constantly. So.
It just seems,
A big pass and all of a sudden the lights go off.
The ones at Dunning actually have some fancy color stuff, but somebody's very nervous about trying them, worrying that all the lights will go off during a game. Good. Lapham Community Center. So I'm going to talk about the good news first. Good news is we saved the residents of town a lot of money. Since 2011, about $4.5 million with Medicare counseling. It's a lot of money. People keep coming. The plans change constantly. So it's not one of those things that you want to say, I did it last year, I don't need to do it for another 5 years. So people keep coming back and they potentially save a lot of money. And we hope that means that people can stay in town longer, use Lapham Community Center and everything. So. Okay, Kiwanis Park.
So the budget, there's a little discrepancy between your chart 379
Yes.
and in the book it's 377.
And what's in your book is right.
Okay.
That with the change of Marcy Rand coming over to help oversee, there was some salary changes there.
Okay.
So it is 377.
It should be what's in your book.
Not what,
377, not
Not
379.
379.
Okay. Kiwanis Park. It's not budget related, but we have decided that, for environmental reasons, we're no longer going to be putting chlorine into the water. We're going to do more testing and make sure that the water is always safe to swim in with more testing. That we discussed last night in the Park and Rec Commission meeting. With that said, when we prepared the budget, there's a line item for supplies, chemicals. At this point in time, that I feel can be reduced to zero.
Of that.
At the bottom line of the Kiwanis Park.
this year? Or what are you saying?
That's coming in.
We won't be spending till July 1st, but then come next year, we will not need the money.
Okay.
The budget year.
Yeah, right.
No, right.
So in the present budget year, there's still some money there to
Sure,
get us going
sure,
in the
sure.
spring. We
Yep.
won't be using that either.
Okay.
So the,
So we don't need that line for 27,
27.
28.
Correct. So that lowers that increases our reduction even more.
Yeah. And what's going on with the Kiwanis Park assessment?
Okay, as of last night, it's been put on hold. What we want to do is we want to have really good data on the swimming without adding chemicals, what we are. So we're gonna, anytime that we have a half-inch of rain in a full day, we'll be testing the water the next day so that we know how much rain does it take. Most of the problems we have with the water is runoff that comes into the pond, bringing in bacteria, et cetera. And when that happens, we want to know what that is. Is it a half inch? Is it 3/4 of an inch? Is it an inch? So we're collecting data this year. So we'll be doing a lot more testing than we did in the past.
Okay.
Okay. So very simply going into our summary, we were looking at 2.95, but it should be down from there with Kiwanis because that does not have the adjusted Kiwanis numbers in there.
Okay, any questions? Anybody, Bob or Michael, anything to add? Anybody else online? No.
No, I think, no, those are, we went through in the subcommittee and
Yep.
we're comfortable with those and the budget.
I mean, I
Okay,
agree with
thanks.
Michael's point that we don't want to make this a real profit center. I mean, it's supposed to be recreation for the town. I mean, we want to cover expenses, but no, I think that's a wise sentiment.
I have one comment. The grass treatments, the extra 20,000. When you spend money on grass treatments, are you looking to see what kind of impact those chemicals have on the ponds that around town that get some of that runoff?
Most definitely. In general, we do not apply. When you're thinking of it as all pesticides for that number, that's not. That's also fertilizer and seed for all our athletic fields, which is the bulk of that amount. But with that said, both Ryan, myself, and Jeff, Ryan's assistant, all are licensed pesticide applicators. So we apply the proper amount, we apply the proper nitrogen at the right time, et cetera. Nitrogen is one of the big runoff problems as far as fertilizer. So, yes.
And are you doing spot treatments ever, or is it all, or are you just blanketing the fields entirely?
Like when we fertilize, yes, we're fertilizing the whole field. With that said, weed control and things like that, yeah, we'll do spot treatments. We do a major application, and when I say major, in June, after the programs are done, the kids are done with school, we treat our parks fields for grubs and for weeds, broadleaf weeds.
And are there different, do products have different levels of nitrogen? I mean, are you looking at the nitrogen levels when you're making those buying decisions?
We're watching what we do. We have a whole plan set up for the whole year, which we also have to be flexible on depending on what it does. But yes, we're knowing how many pounds of nitrogen we're putting down per year during what growing season, et cetera. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's all part of our school. My degree is in turf management, so I'll be glad to bore you for days on end if you want to. And Ryan is a horticultural degree, so ready.
Hey, John, you gonna go through the capital?
Do we want to do the recreation fund itself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going. You got the deck. So I just wanted to make sure,
okay.
Tiger, anything you wanted to add before we go to the recreation fund?
No, not yet. We're good.
So again, the recreation fund comes back with 100,000. There's 9 different sections in our recreation fund: before and after school programs, summer camp, soccer and other programs, flag football, softball, racket sports, which include there's tennis, there's paddle, there's pickleball, and then special events. So we feel we're running good programs for all the different departments. BASF is before and after school fund, named long before me, but it's mainly our after school programs at the 3 elementary schools. We had just under 3,000 kids last year that participated in programs. Camps, summer camps, were 145 kids per session. We're maxed out, and the main reason we're maxed out is our rain space or our inclement weather space is Waveney House. So we can only take up to 160 there. So that's why we figure 145, then we have the counselors and everything else. So soccer and other, yes, it's a little kids soccer program, and then there's a few other programs, small programs that go in that. Flag football, we have 450 kids last year and still growing. Girls flag football is taking off. We're having a problem trying to find coaches to help with it. And field space. Softball, which is mainly men's, but every now and then there's a woman that will play in there, but 115 participants. Tennis, 1,400 participants in our programs. Paddle tennis, 290, pickleball, 500, and I think we'd have more if we get the other courts built. And then special events, from Breakfast with Santa, it's sold out in no time. The father-daughter dance sold out in 7 minutes or something like that. So it's good. So
Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's where 100 grand comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are more profitable than others, but we try to keep the rates in line with what it costs to run them.
Oh, and they're all positive. It's very good.
We can go right into weddings. Right now with the projected income of 200,000, I think we're gonna go up from there.
What did we do this year? We think we'll do?
We will do next year. I think we're gonna be up around 200.
That's
Last year, basically. What was it
Saying
last
this-
year?
this
the year we're in
fiscal-
now
this
is
fiscal year.
26.
No, shouldn't I?
Ballpark? Ballpark?
I think just under 200,000.
About 200?
Yeah.
So it's about the
And I can
same-ish?
find out Sure for you.
Well, it's okay. But it's about the same. Okay.
Well,
You think we'll
and-
do more?
And,
Okay.
and remember, we had to shut down Waveney. We had very specific dates because of the elevator that's going in.
Last
Yeah.
year, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and we're shut down right now.
Okay. Okay.
How
many
weddings is 200,000?
About 34. So last year we had 34 weddings, 7 cancellations.
And there's weekends where we don't rent because, think about 4th of July and, there are days, we were just talking about another event. So,
And some of those events, last night Pops in the Park was approved. Now that's a Sunday, not the most popular wedding day, but that removes 2 days from our calendar because they need a rain date. So, yeah, stuff like that.
Good.
Almost every weekend.
Oh yeah. We rent out for weddings Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday, of course, being the most popular day, Friday being behind it, and Sunday is, we really want to get married in Waveney. That's the only day we can do when we want to go. But next June is almost June 26th. This coming June is almost completely booked up, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Do you remember what the revenue was before we had a dedicated person for this?
I don't, but I can tell you, we did not have near as many bookings. We were more apt to have one a weekend. Yeah.
626.
So, and some of the upgrades have been very nice to upgrade the brides and grooms room. When somebody tours the place and they could see them, it's completely different.
Yeah.
So
The parking lot is nice.
yeah, parking lot's nice. You'll see in our capital budget when we get there that we're looking for a new sound system, so it's all those things.
Question on the summer camps. I recall that the state changed the way they allow children to be counselors or something, that it has to
State tried to change it. They did not pass. They'll be back again this year.
pass that. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
They're going to try again this
They're going to definitely try again this year. For a lot of reasons, very simply, we don't want that. We'll have to pass the cost on
Right.
to the users. And we run, not just us, but a lot of towns run very nice camps for kids. Great time. They enjoy it. Zach does a great job with them.
And it's a great experience for both sides of that, the younger children and the older ones to get good
And-
responsibility. And
Yep.
yeah.
And the counselors, not being able to hire the kids for counselors, is sad. That's the first job for a lot of kids.
Exactly.
So,
Well, and, John should get a lot of credit because he wrote a letter to the legislature, on that bill. And
But
explained
can
why it was an
a
issue.
private camp like Camp Playland hire teenagers?
they,
Right? Yeah.
they can. There is some different things. They'd be a licensed camp, which is the difference, being that we're being a municipality. That's the difference. If you wanted to go start your own camp, you'd have to become a licensed camp. And there's a lot of extra.
Camp LeBrie.
Oh, that sounds nice.
It does sound nice.
But you
What
have
would we do there?
I don't know.
Yeah, one of the biggest expenses.
Finance camp.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think so.
You'll be paying the campers.
That's right.
Biggest expenses would be a nurse on site, which we don't have right now.
Oh,
Not
right.
that would be one of the biggest expenses.
And that's what they have at Camp Playland.
Of course. Yeah.
Nurse,
They have
yes.
to have a nurse, even though we do the same medical.
Correct. We're all first aid
Pre-screening and
CPR certified,
CPR,
all
it's-
that stuff. And our ratio, just so you know, it's like 1 to 12. So it's very, very competitive with other surrounding camps.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. Okay, Steve Venko Pool. Very simply, being an enterprise fund, it runs itself. Money comes in, money goes out. A pool being 21 years old, it's in really good shape. We do have some issues. We have a water main leak that we're working on right now and problems like that. But overall, the pool's in good shape. So that's it for operating. Oh, sorry.
Hey, just one quick question, John, you have out-of-town membership for the Steve Benko pool, right?
That's correct. We do have an out-of-town membership, a family membership. This year, we're trying something new. We always did a lottery from scratch. So you could be coming this year and you win the lottery and love it. And then next year you might lose and not be able to come back. So we're giving people first refusal that had an out-of-town membership to come back again this year. That does help offset the costs for the in-town
Right.
members.
Have you thought about giving out-of-town membership for some of the other programs to generate additional revenue, or you think the community would not accept as much as they accept the out-of-town membership for the Steve Benko pool?
Yeah, I think our biggest problem with other groups such as paddle tennis, pickleball, is we don't have enough space.
Availability.
So
You can't do.
we don't want, it's like a lot of our programs, we don't want to have just classes because people want to still play. So we need to balance that.
Taxpayers need to have access to the courts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we started having out-of-town pickleball memberships, you might never be able to book a court.
Right. But you don't find that problem with the Steve Benko pool is what I'm saying, right? That's unique because you have plenty of space.
We have plenty of space. It's a very big pool. We've never had to think about closing because it's too crowded, which is great. That's really based on how many people are in the water, not inside the place. But still, even on a busy day, you go, room here.
And we limit those
I got
numbers, just so you know, the non-resident ones as well. So we do cap at how many members.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep.
Well, this,
The revenue for the pool?
so this budget request, is that the net difference between the revenue and the expense?
On the pool?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, this, you say it's an increase of 7.5%, the request is 630,000. What does that mean?
Summary of that enterprise funds.
Just looking, but I couldn't find it. I was just saying too.
We used to have that, I believe.
We see we should be bringing in 630,700, which projected to come in. And with our expenses going out, wait.
Is it exactly the same number?
No.
Okay.
I
Just asking.
I think on my slide, the 630,700 is what's coming in, total revenue, because
So it's, it's.
yes, and it should be 593,324 is what I should be requesting.
Is the expense.
There you go. Yes.
Okay, because
Looking at
I
your
always thought
budget
we were
sheets.
adding a little money for capital or putting it into the fund, right? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. That's
So
why you
it's
made me nervous.
self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining, enterprise fund, self-sustaining,
Has-
yes.
There's no request. There's a,
We need to go through the budget process
but you gotta-
so we can spend
you
it.
gotta put in both sides though. You gotta put in the income and the revenue. And so this is the revenue.
That's the revenue. It should have been the expense.
But the expense is not in this.
The expense should be 593,324. It's
Yeah, because I'm like, there's the,
57.
yeah, I was gonna say, we have the enterprise funds,
Oh, it's
other
in the
budgets,
enterprise
there we
fund.
go. I knew we had it. So you can see.
Okay.
It's not helping.
Yeah, 586 of cost, 630 of revenue.
593. Well, is it 593 or 586? Yeah,
yes.
593. Okay. Very good.
Now, we have our capital, or we can wait and do it with Tiger, either way, whatever you'd like.
You guys just keep going.
I just had a quick question on the rec programs. Is there like, this is the top, whatever, 10, and then there's some others? Because the numbers don't seem to foot.
So the
If I add up everything, it doesn't equal the bottom numbers, I don't think. Doing it, but it's off like a fair amount.
Yeah, it's on 1,000,003 on the expense side. Not even close. 500, 7, 8, 9.
Grand or something.
Looking at those numbers quick,
Unless there's
We
something
don't have
missing.
Waveney, the pool isn't in there, is it?
being the rec programs.
It's
Okay.
not off by that much, I don't think.
It's on 1,000,003. 3.
just looking at the numbers, and I can't do the math in my head, but it doesn't seem possible that that could go to 1.3 million,
Right, exactly.
you know, adding them up. Quarter mil.
It's 990,860, the total for the expense. So it's about
Yeah.
315,000 off.
And on the income, it's off by about 200 grand. That's higher by 200
So
grand.
it should be like 1220.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
about,
1220,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well,
So what's in the book? Let's just find one.
Summer school programs. So summer camp, was summer camp in here? That should be.
Summer camps in
this
there.
one's here.
Summer camp should be.
What page is
On
camp
page
on?
52.
52, I'm on 55, go to 52. Gotcha. I'm just on, no, look up pickleball.
Pickleball.
Pickleball's right,
99.
78.
I'm
What-
sorry.
What, oh, the 100,000 for the salary? Yeah. Oh,
Gotcha.
$100,000 salary?
255.
You're still a little light though, right? Okay. And on the revenue, what would be the revenue side that's missing?
Waveney Weddings.
No,
It's
'cause-
200K.
Could it be the Waveney Weddings? Because it officially was all in one, even though we maintain them all separately.
Where do we get the 1420? I mean, that'd be,
Yeah.
maybe we can work back. Where do we?
Well,
get
let's
Well,
do
the
this.
number
Let's
here
do
is
this. Can you-
1418. Can I send you?
Totally. And you want to just make sure we got this, I want to make sure the book is right and foots to the presentation. The book's sort of the Bible, but let's do that. Just tick and tie that, okay? And we're talking about tens and maybe $100,000 one way or the other in the expense and the revenue. You'll find it. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, let's do the capital. We really have to stick with, I want to make sure Tiger's listening. We have to stick with must-haves. We got to really, really understand what's a nice to have, and what we really, really just have to have, okay? Because this is adding up to a terrible year for capital, so.
So with that came through loud and clear at our subcommittee meeting. So if we start with capital infrastructure, but we looked at a couple things that we were able to reduce the numbers from our initial ask or ask that went to the Board of Selectmen. So we reduced fence backstop replacement, and we decided to move Waveney Trail reconstruction at least out a year. Okay, those we look at as nice to haves. So I'll be glad to go through each one.
Well, I mean, the biggies for sure. So what's the deal with the irrigation upgrades? What's going on?
Irrigation upgrades, there's two parts to that. We have $100,000 because we have some issues with Sachs well, which could, the well's getting old, it's not producing enough water. So we either need to improve that, or we might have to drill another well for Sachs irrigation system. That well feeds both Sachs and Connor Field. So the other 300,000 was to replace piping and sprinklers at the high school. They're 25 plus years old with a 20-year life expectancy. So we're at time there.
Are we doing it proactively, or we already have a problem?
We don't daily have a problem. Like
Okay.
systems were up and running last year.
Yep.
That does the track at the Farm Road field. But at any point in time, we can have breaks, that type of that.
That makes sense.
So it's
I
time.
get you.
Something else big next year where you have 300,000 for irrigation as well.
300,000, what we were planning on there would have been to go into Waveney and replace the sprinklers at the Orchard Field and the water tower at the Girls Field.
I got it right here. Dog ears.
John?
Yeah.
We could also like, I just looked, we could also look to, take that exterior wall repair off.
Yeah, that, the exterior wall repairs for 100,000, that's wall repair work at Waveney, around Waveney, all the brick walls. You know, a lot of them they're over 100 years old. You know,
Tiger, remove or push?
Push. We'd just be pushing it out. We have enough money, at present for the next fiscal year, and then we'd be looking to continue the program.
Because you have so we would, well, when you say push, I mean, you already have 100 in every year.
every year.
Right.
So
I-
are
so
you
you could
saying
just
the
remove
following
it.
year it's 200, or are you saying get rid of it?
Just get rid of it. I would just keep
All right.
100 for the
There we
next couple.
go.
Let's do that. I was going to ask you the question before you got started. Is there unspent money right
As far
now?
as exterior wall repairs? Oh,
Just in general, money that was bonded and we should have this for sure. I mean, money that we've already either maybe not bonded or had planned on it this year.
that there will be a little bit of money left over from the irrigation systems that we just installed because there was contingency in there. So there's not a lot, but yeah.
Okay. Just keep it, are you going to keep a running tab of all this? Because when we vote, we need to know those answers, a couple weeks. So don't know tonight, but that's one of the
The
follow-ups.
400,000 in that case can definitely be reduced with whatever we have left.
Yeah, that's what we need to know. There you go. Exactly.
When
So
you say
push,
a little bit, are you talking 100 or are you talking?
We did not have to go into the contingency. So
So we haven't.
I think we went 10% on all the projects. So it's a good, yeah, and offhand.
what will be the ballpark?
Yeah.
Ballpark. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So maybe 100,000 in contingency not spent. Good job, by the way, keeping the projects.
It was, it's nice. We had
Yeah,
good
no, that's
plans,
good.
Good
It's good.
specs and a good contractor.
That's
Things
really
went
good.
well.
It's not as high as the police department, but I just want to say. Sean,
Tough crowd.
It's all relative, right?
Say again? That's coming out, and there could be some contingency funds of monies that were not spent this year because the project came in on budget without needing
For
them.
irrigation.
For irrigate, we may need to we could apply that so the irrigation that's coming in.
Improvements, we might have 5,000-6,000.
Yeah.
Same
Okay,
thing.
just same thing. Just
Yeah.
let's get it all pulled together so Ann has it and can keep track of it so we can, okay, that's good. Keep going.
So are we done with the infrastructure part or I can go down through each project if you want, whatever you'd like.
I just had a question on the irrigation upgrades. That 300,000 for the irrigation, would that be revamping the whole system or just sections?
That would be at the high school. It runs off a well. It would be running from the well, everything out from the well. So all the irrigation piping,
All the piping.
controls, and
Okay.
wire for the sprinkler controls, all the way out to Farm Road and the track.
Okay, so, and that should be good for 20-25 years.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
If anything, it probably will be good longer. There's been, we've been using high density poly pipe, which lasts longer than PVC pipe. So use a combination, but yes, we should be able to get 25 years. without a problem.
Okay, great.
Capital equipment?
So,
What's the first one?
capital equipment, that's two low boy trucks, two of the smaller trucks that we use in the Parks Department. What happens is every few years we get to a point with getting 10 years out of our vehicles that we need to put a second vehicle in there. And this is where that falls. So
What happens to the two that you have?
trade in, most likely, or sell. But either way, we won't be keeping them. We're not adding to the fleet at all.
They must haves.
Right. Today I could say we could skip them. What the problem we run into is then, are we just pushing the thing down the road? I take a winter like this and say, these are our trucks that plow the schools,
Yeah. I'm just asking.
It's been rough. I'd say that's a
How
must
many
have.
trucks are in this, two?
This is two pickup trucks with plows.
And how many trucks do you have?
With
13 including recreation?
Yeah.
Okay, so every year you buy a couple of trucks? Is-
No, every year we usually buy one truck, but when you're going on basically a 10-year replacement, that comes up that every now and then we have to ask for two.
Since there's 13 and there's 10 years.
So
one
10
to
years
2
ago,
years
you
you
bought
need.
2 trucks.
Yeah.
These two?
But it could have been 11 years or it could have been 9
You
years.
could buy one and push, and then buy an extra one next year.
But with that said, we'd have one in the budget for next year. So
So
if we
we're
did
all-
kick one down, we'd be going for 2
There's
next
always
year.
a year when you're gonna have 2.
Yeah, because 13,
Unfortunately.
13 trucks, 10 years, there's 1 to 2 years where you have to buy 2.
You know,
Is,
Okay.
what's the lead time on these?
Oh.
I mean, if you put,
6 months to a year.
so if you put the order in July, you might get it by Christmas, but like that, okay.
It's
I'm
so
just
flexible.
calculating when this bonding happens. So,
Yeah, well, in that same conversation, if you look at the utility vehicle, that's probably a year before we can have one delivered. The second one down.
Does the 170 include any proceeds from sale or trade-in?
It would, regularly, we don't know, so that should be for the full cost. We don't know if we're gonna get $1,000 for a truck or 10,000.
So there's some room there.
So there's always some left over there, and the same thing presently, there could be a little bit left over that we can use there.
what's the utility vehicle?
Utility vehicles, used for anything from sanding sidewalks to trail maintenance. It's a 4-wheel drive, heavy duty, small. I'd say golf cart, but it's not the same. And it shouldn't be for 52,000,
Yeah.
right?
I guess the question is, rather than go through each one, is there anything that is just not a must-have?
The two bottom on your presentation should have strikeouts
Yep,
in them.
you took them out.
We took them out. Those we feel we're not taking them out permanently, but we are pushing them down the road. And
Okay, there's,
This equipment and attachments, would that be
Still in the
something that we
book.
could bond?
which one, Nick?
Miscellaneous equipment,
And what's all that?
very simply, it's 4 different small pieces of equipment. So there's a stand-up aerator, there's a stand-up spreader sprayer, a Ventrac weed bine, which is an attachment that goes on to help remove weeds. Mainly, we'll use it on the school grounds because we can't use any pesticides to remove broadleaf weeds. And then also a walk-behind seeder. We could reduce that. We could remove the walk-behind seeder if needed to. That would take 7,000 off. Sorry, Ryan.
An artificial field groomer.
For our artificial fields, Dunning, water towers, Coppell Field, it's basically a vacuum sweeper. It goes along, it dances the rubber around a little bit, stands it up, but also picks up the debris.
That's what I thought it was. So giant vacuum cleaner.
It's a giant, very expensive vacuum cleaner, but we
Have one?
we actually have 2. And the problem is we need to have 2. The one that we're having now is the original one we bought when we switched over from when Dunning went away from old style AstroTurf with the rubber mix.
Yeah.
So we can't count on that one anymore. So that's our problem.
Yeah.
Could we push it a year? Yes, but unfortunately, if all of a sudden we need to clean the fields and it's broken down, we can't, that.
Question regarding the vehicles. Are any of those purchased through Connecticut state contracts or?
Yes,
They all-
usually there's bid assistance or the state contract. Yeah, it's competitive pricing one way or another. Yep.
You're getting the best deal possible.
We're getting a lot better.
Within the confines of.
We're getting a lot better
State
deal than
contract.
you and I can go buy a vehicle, that's for sure. So,
Want to do any other questions on that page? Let's look the last 2 here.
the last 2. Okay, so 2 things. New technology for Lapham Center. This is anything from the projectors to the computers, et cetera, over there. A lot of that stuff is really outdated. When I hold my park and rec commission meetings, we're using a TV with a camera on top. But if you ever watch one, you can tell the difference in quality. So we want to update that. And then the second one is an audio system for Waveney House. So that when somebody wants to speak on a mic at an event, we can have speakers in all the rooms, we'd be able to turn them off, and we'd also like to have speakers out on the back patio.
Wouldn't that be ultimately weddings end up paying for that?
That's exactly
Have an
it.
enterprise
Yeah.
fund,
Yep.
you do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's-
How'd that become my problem?
Those are relatively small potatoes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
This is a good list.
Okay.
I appreciate the effort. You
No, I just wanted to go back because you were talking about, sorry, sorry, Ryan, the walk behind Cedar. I didn't catch.
took a
and
bullet.
7,000
Seven-
was the
Out of,
miscellaneous.
okay.
equipment.
All right. So you got it. Okay. I just want to make sure.
All right.
Yep.
We good? That was good. Thank you. Any questions? Any other questions?
Yeah, what's the pickle?
Oh, pickleball. Sorry, do you want to cover? Yeah.
The 26,000, $13,000.
No, that's okay. We understand
No, no,
that.
no.
We're talking, that's paddle heaters. You had the
You-
pickleball court.
Actually,
talking
I
about,
put
right?
that on the presentation because I knew Michael Chen would be at our subcommittee and I wanted to show him where we were,
Oh,
where we were at our present. We're in the planning
the
stage
Chen
for
court.
the planning stages for the courts up at
So you
Waveney.
put this in here so Michael would approve your budget.
He's not saying yes, he's not saying no.
Exactly.
No
Well,
comment.
wanted to
Good
let him
thinking.
know that at least we were still working on
There
it.
you go.
So,
Excellent. Bob, anything else on your end? Jan?
No, no.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Good. And thanks for all that you pull off here. That's a lot of work every day. Every season, there's something.
These guys have been working
I know it. Thank you.
really
both.
hard this year.
Thank you.
Doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Well, so first off, thank you very much for allowing me to zoom in. I apologize, but I didn't want to get everybody sick. But I do appreciate. Usually, I like to look a man in the eye when I ask him for money. That was what my grandfather told me. So I apologize that it's from afar. At the table, just so you wouldn't be looking at a blank desk, I have our town engineer Maria Coplet and our DPW senior project manager Joe Zagorinsky. And if there's other questions from other staff, we can bring others in. So Lou is in the room. Lou is our highway superintendent. Bill's on the call and Nick is on the call from the wastewater plant. So we appreciate the time, and we'll walk you through our fiscal 27 budget request. Looking at it overall, including the sewer, we're at a minus 1.11, but there's an anomaly in the sewer budget itself, which kind of throws off some of the numbers. So if I take the sewer budget out, we're at a 0.88 overall for the other divisions throughout the department itself. So we tried to take a look at what we were doing. We made some changes in staffing, specifically at the transfer station, specifically there on our superintendent. And there, so for you see some changes at the transfer station level, and then we took a hard look. Deanna asked us to take a hard look at all of our spending and see where we could actually reduce some of our operating expenses to try to stay in line with what we were spending and keep our budget in line with that. So I'll walk you through each budget itself. So in administration on page 26, it's a negative 3% year over year. And what this is, again, we took a look at what we were spending for our professional services lines, and we feel we can make a reduction of about $10,000 in our professional services line. We have contracts, annual contracts that extend to be about $113,000 between administration and engineering, and we were able to reduce our cost to $127,000 for our ask. That only leaves us about $13,000 for leeway for other things that might come up during the year. It's about $1,000 a month. It's not much, but we feel that that we should be able to make it through the year with that. So that's administration itself. I don't know if you have any questions on admin.
I know. Nope. We're good.
Okay. On engineering on page 28, it's a 2% change, $10,000, and it's actually just in the 401A benefit line. The rest of them are staying pretty standard throughout. We did do some adjustments as far as putting things in the proper buckets. So working with Ryan, Stacy from our budget manager, he asked us, the budget director, to ask us to look at, and so you'll see where we have minus $75,000 for outside contractors, but then that's split up between two separate lines, being construction services and software subscriptions. So we're trying to get the expenditure in line with the description of the expenditure in line with the actual expenditure. But this
That
change
helps
was
with
based
the,
mainly in the salary lines.
Yeah, and Ann's coming back, but this helps with the overall uniform chart of accounts.
Mhm.
So that like going forward, everything is like easier to track and in the
Exactly.
right state.
Exactly.
It makes everything easier.
Any questions on engineering?
No.
The next is town buildings, page 29. It's a 4.97% increase year over year. The increases are in our outside contractors, our cleaning line, and our service contract lines. We went back out to bid this past year for a 3-year contract for our cleaning and our service contracts, and now we're entering year 2 of those contracts. And we saw we had long-term contracts with cleaning and service contracts before, and now we're seeing the commensurate bump in each one of those lines. But this is for cleaning of all of our buildings, and then the service contracts are mainly our preventive maintenance and our maintenance for our HVAC and plumbing work, electrical work, things of that nature. So I don't know if you have questions on buildings.
So the big increase in property cleaning is what you're referencing here?
Yes. Yep.
How,
That was bid out. That was a bid number that brought back in the police department and the additional needs at the police department for cleaning, as well as the rest of the buildings that we maintain.
all right, so that didn't come out of somewhere else. That's a net addition because of the change in the configuration of the building, right?
That's correct for a portion of that. Yes.
Yes, it's bigger
I'm not going to say
building.
it's the entire number, but it's a portion of that. Yeah, it's a bigger building. It's got a lot more areas, a lot more sensitive cleaning areas, things of that nature.
Electricity is just go across the board, it seems to be, right? Yeah, okay.
Library.
Yeah.
Were there any savings as a result of the removal of the Irwin Park building?
Well, we only had one person renting in there, so there really wasn't much of a reduction overall in the cleaning and the other lines there.
Do you mean it that way or overall?
Yeah.
Just overall, whatever the expenses were from a maintenance or other perspective.
We had pretty much mothballed the building, so there really wasn't much that we were carrying in a maintenance line for that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We avoided having to pay 1.6 million,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
To refurbish this thing.
Well, yeah, 1.6 million plus, because that was just the exterior, not
Yeah.
the interior renovation. So interior renovation was running 400 plus.
Next play. Next play. Can't do anything about it. Go on.
The highway department is page 27. Percentage change is 3.84%. We have an increase in our salary and our OT lines to keep with, we had renegotiated our contract a year ago, and you're seeing now the changes in that contract. We also, again, looked at some of those expenditure lines, and we were able to reduce our outside contractor line by $10,000 and our supplies auto truck for $10,000, and that's keeping us closer to our previous history of expenditures. We look back 3 years, we look back 10 years, but then we specifically look back 3 years to see exactly where we were. We felt we could make a change in both those lines.
Okay, so what's going on in the salary line? I presume there's a couple of things, right? It's probably the results of the labor contract and steps.
That's correct. It's both. We have a lot of new hires, about 8 new hires, and they're set at their grade, but now they're going to be stepping out. So we hire them at a lower step when they come in, and they go through a 5-step process.
And for new employees, that's relatively rapid, right?
Annual, yes.
Yeah. So
One,
you see
a step per year.
because that 5% number seems large, but then when you combine both the across the board, salary negotiations plus the steps kicking in, I presume that when the detail would support that.
Yes.
Right. What was the overall salary adjustment negotiated in the contract?
It's just around 3, I think.
Just around 3.
It
Right.
wasn't right around 3.
It was, yeah,
kind of-
the first year was below 3, and then the next year was 3.
But there was the below 3, but there was a hourly rate increase.
That's correct.
So not so dissimilar from the Board of Ed.
No, the Board of Ed's higher.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
okay.
So Tiger, I in the subcommittee, I asked you about like the additional cost of all the plowing and the salt, and you saying you don't budget for that. That comes out of, I guess, the general fund or a contingency fund for the additional cost.
That's correct. We don't budget for storms. We have an overtime budget, but we don't budget for. We don't have a storm account. There are some towns that have a storm account, and this board asked us a decade ago or more to basically manage from within. And then if we have a particularly bad winter, like the one that we're in right now, to come back and give an update. We're working through those numbers right now, and we're going to be giving an update shortly as to where we are and where we would be given a normal year. We'll also take a look at that normal year and see if there's any way for us to reduce costs on an overtime basis for the remaining portion of the year to soften the blow. But it's been quite difficult this year. Everything, Deanna will tell you, everything's fallen on a Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday. And this coming storm is no different. If it hits us, it's Sunday to Monday. Right now, they're telling us it's going to go. Thank God it's going to go. But yes, and our salt usage is up.
I'm looking at Lou. You're homesick. I'm looking at Lou. Like, how long do I want to go to bed? I asked him today how much coffee he's drinking. He says, "I'm not drinking more coffee. I'm just tired, more tired." Yeah.
So how big is the contingency?
You're still smiling though.
So how big is the contingency fund, and how much of it is drawn so far? Okay. Oh, great. Okay.
But I told everybody I'm not taking snow out of downtown this year, so just don't
Well, it's
ask
melting.
me again.
Yesterday melted. Today we're melting.
Yeah.
So we have to hope we don't get in the
Yeah.
fall.
Don't even say it. Are we really
I
getting?
know.
We're not getting a storm, are we?
Next week.
No, we're not.
Okay.
I'm checking this right now. I'm gonna bind this.
Anything
Okay.
else on highway, or we can go to transfer? So the next is the transfer station, page 30. The transfer station is a minus 9% year over year. And as I mentioned, our longstanding superintendent, Don Smith, retired after 40 plus years with the town. And we took a look at whether or not we actually needed a superintendent in the department itself. And we decided that we were going to fold the management of the department into the highway department. So Lou is now the superintendent for both the highway department and the transfer station. We're keeping the departments separate only because of what the transfer station does and the men that are there. We have 3 men that work at the transfer station. They do a very nice job. So Lou oversees that department as well as the highway department. And so far, it's been working quite well. So we see a reduction in the salary line from the superintendent's perspective. And then also we took a look at how much material is actually coming into the transfer station each year for garbage. That's called MSW, or municipal solid waste. So our garbage hauling, our recycling, and then our bulky waste. And based upon the volume that's coming in, we felt that even though we're going into a contract year and they're telling us that the numbers for the tipping fees will be going up, we felt that the volume we could reduce, increase the projected fee that we'll be paying going out the door, and then see a reduction. So there's a reduction in the garbage hauling and the recycling lines equal to that recalculation. But we'll be going out to bid shortly for a multi-year contract, 3 to 5 year contract in June. Well, it'll start in June. We'll go out in March for that, for our garbage hauling, our recycling, and our bulky waste. And then we'll have a more definitive answer there. But we're seeing a little bit of a reduction in volume. That's mainly because some of the haulers are consolidating and some have their own places to bring their garbage. We only accept garbage from the town at the transfer station. But the haulers themselves, depending upon where they are in their meta station, they'll either bring it to us or they'll bring it elsewhere. And then I should mention that while we're paying right now $111 going out the door, we are charging $115 to come in. So we're actually net positive by about $4 a ton, or by $4 a ton for everything that's coming in. But that's on the revenue side. You don't necessarily see it here. This is all expense, so you don't get to see that on the revenue side. But we did make a small reduction in the revenue to compensate for the reduction what we feel is going to happen for garbage hauling and recycling. So I don't know if you have any questions on the transfer station.
No,
Yeah,
other
I
than,
do.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Victor.
First, I want to just say thank you very much for putting page numbers on your slides. It's very considerate of you and helpful. The other thing is,
Thank Ryan. That's Ryan, because Ryan gave the page numbers, so then I was able to take them and put them on there. So it takes a village.
yeah, that's great. I love it. So my question is, Swap Shop, have you been able to calculate any kind of impact on the transfer station because of the Swap Shop? Because I know it's pretty popular.
It's very popular. The Planet New Canaan helps run it for us. They do a very, very nice job. Very difficult to determine, the majority of the materials that are coming in. We don't know if they would have ever made it into the Swap Shop itself. But we haven't really seen that would have gone into our construction debris, our bulky waste. We're not seeing a large drop in that bulky waste. We're actually anticipating that there might be an increase in that. That's brush and debris and the construction debris itself. So we're actually in our line, we've increased that slightly to compensate for what we feel will be the additional hauling costs. So it's very difficult to quantify. We just know that the materials very rarely even make it into the Swap Shop. They're actually exchanged somewhere between the car that it's taken out of and a car that's in the parking lot. So, but from our perspective, if it's reused, that's one of the 3 R's. You have reduce, reuse, and recycle. So if it's going to be reused, it's a much better thing than actually coming to us to be disposed of.
Yeah. Right.
Anything else on the transfer station? And the next one, John went through parks. So we'll go to the Nature Center, page 32. The Nature Center, we basically pay for, as the landlord, we pay for the fuel, the electricity, and the water. And we're seeing, based upon what we feel will be for electricity and the water usage and the fuel usage, we're looking at a $9,000 change or 12%. We're projecting that our electricity costs, and this is across the board for all of our departments and all the buildings in town, at a 10% increase. And then we're looking at a 4% increase for water. That usually goes to Pura. Aquarian usually asks for anywhere from a 5 to 8%. And we always seem to see that they come in at about a 3 to 4%. Pura gives them a 3 to 4%. So we don't know yet where that's going to be. But we feel that a 4% has worked in the past for us. A 4% number works for us.
If that acquisition goes through, that number is
That-
crap. That could be higher in a few years. So
That's correct. So yeah, if they, I know that I pay more. I'm under Region Water Authority here in my town, and I know that I pay more than what we pay for in New Canaan for a little less service. So, yeah. Any other thing on the Nature Center? The town utilities, page 29. This is for our hydrant service for the town sewer fee, since we pay for our buildings to use the sewer plant and then our street lights. We have a little over 300 hydrants in town, 318 serviced by Aquarian, And then we have a little over 400 lights that are serviced by Eversource. We lease the lights from Eversource, but in that lease is the light itself and the maintenance of it and the electrical charge. And they come out, and if the light needs to be changed, they take care of it. Needs to be replaced, they take care of it. We don't have to worry about having a bucket truck and having an electrician on call to come out there and do it. And the hydrant service, we're paying for the fact that for the hydrant, you've got to have a larger water line, a water main, to be able to carry the load for the hydrant. So there's a per inch foot fee that's calculated. So inch diameter of pipe per linear foot. We have just about 3 million inch feet in town, and we pay a rate associated with that that's set by Pura that we pay for that hydrant service that allows that capacity of the water so the hydrants will work. But I have to say that Aquarian also pays a fee for their ownership of the pipe in our property. So they pay property taxes back to the assessor for that. I don't know exactly what that number is, but
It also go down if the acquisition goes through.
yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Sorry, I just
it's all good. Yeah, I'll have to take that out of my speech next time.
You know.
But at present they're paying. So, but going forward, maybe not. But that's basically what the town utilities cover. Any questions? And then the last, tree service is at 0. We're at 539,489. We made a change a couple of years ago to allow us to kind of do a full cycle, a full year's worth of bidding. And based upon last year to this year, we were able to put out pretty much the same amount of bids. And then we actually took down more trees than we had in the year past. So in 24, we took down 177 trees. 25, we took down 223. And we were able to do more stump grinding and a little bit less pruning with the money. But we think that the program's working well. I mentioned this to the Board of Selectmen, we did look at, or every year we look at whether or not we should go to a tree service that's in-house. And for $500,000, it's a much better service to have it where we're paying out versus having staff to do it. We need 3 to 4 men, a couple of trucks, chipper truck, bucket truck, and then the commensurate training, and then the insurance is a little bit crazy for tree service since it's one of the most dangerous professions. So at 500, just under $540,000, we're at a better stead than trying to do it ourselves.
So the tree warden supervises the outside contractors.
That's correct. He does all the bidding. He goes out and reviews every single tree. Every call that comes in for a tree, Bob goes out and looks at, and then he does his own analysis on other roads and other areas that are brought to his attention. And then he puts out at least probably about a bid a month for work. And then he oversees that work. And then if there's any emergency work that comes in, each one of the contractors has to be on our emergency call out list. We've got 7 contractors on our emergency call out list. They work a week on, and then they're off for 6 weeks. So they're on call for the week. If there's anything that happens, we call that tree service. They come out middle of the night, take care of a tree that came down, things of that nature. And then Bob follows up with them on the billing and what they're charging. So at present, it's working quite well, and making them responsible for the emergency services to allow them to bid is helping us as well. And we gave them one more caveat, was that they had to make sure that they bid at least 4 times a year, so that we were getting multiple bids coming into to the Board of Selectmen for approval. And that added change is working well as well.
Well, Tiger, before we jump to sewer, it has to be said, I think what you said, you're going to be up about 1% when you take sewer out of this analysis, right?
That's correct.
As opposed to being down 1. That's just a really good job. So,
Thank you,
good
guys.
effort and good summary of everything. Thank you.
No problem. So let's go to this. Let's go to the wastewater plant at page 47. So if you look at the numbers dry, it looks like there's a $258,000 change. But that's specifically in the last 2 lines, which is the account transfer line and the contingency line. And if I take those out, the analysis gets a little bit purer. So if I take that out, the overall budget is 1,703 up $2,629 from last year, 0.15%. So it's virtually flat across the board. Nick's done a nice job. We are increasing our outside sludge hauling contract and our supplies line and chemicals. The main reason for that is, well, we're going to be going out to bid for our sludge hauling, our sludge hauler, as well as our, I should say, all of the waste haulers that we have are telling us that it's going to be anywhere from 20 to 25% increase year over year for next year for the new bids coming in. We'll wait to see what happens when we bid, but Nick's doing a very nice job of managing the sludge itself, managing actually the water content, the moisture content in the sludge. And he's actually been able to reduce the moisture content, which is then actually reducing our costs. So he's done a very nice job, and he's actually got kudos from the sludge hauler who likes the material that Nick has given him now better than it was when it's looser and wetter. If I can use those terms. And then we have
It's too late.
Sorry.
Already done. TMI. Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you.
Yeah, that ship sailed. And then the other one is we have an increase in our supplies line chemicals, and that's to fight off our nitrogen and our phosphorus and our zinc, right? So we get credit for our nitrogen removal. We get money back from the state every year for nitrogen removal. And then our phosphorus and zinc, if you remember back several years ago, we had a scare with our permit that we were actually going to have anywhere from a $10 to $13 million plant upgrade if we couldn't manage the zinc and phosphorus in-house. And working with AECOM, our consultant, annually, we've been able to, with chemical treatment, keep us within permit, keep the DEP happy, and not have them change our permit levels and cause us to have to go to a very large capital expenditure.
That's not insignificant.
Not insignificant. No, we spend about $20,000 annually. It's in the capital side for AECOM to continue to do their diligence and see if there's new technologies and new methods. Excuse me. And that has played very well with the DEP. That analysis and that working relationship has played out very well. And they know that we're working on the process, and we're trying to keep our zinc and phosphorus levels low. And we're hoping that coming through the next permit cycle, that'll be reflected in our permit requirements as well.
A few years ago, that was a real
deal.
live issue.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
Listening to those.
That was very scary, and the number was big.
That's correct. Yeah, 10 to 13. We started off at 4 or 5, and then by the time we got done, we were at $10 to $13 million. And we also had space constraints down at the plant. So it was a very nice thing that we've been able to manage, or I should say Nick has been able to manage. He's doing a very, very nice job. So if we want to go to capital,
well,
our overall capital right now is $18 million. It will change by the end of this discussion. So we are looking at an increase of 4.111 million or 29.28%. I figured, Todd, that if I was sitting at the desk at that table, you would have came up and said, Tiger, and you would have came out with a number, and the number I had in my head is 5 million. So by the time we get done with this discussion, that number will reduce by $5 million.
All right, let's have at it.
So
I was actually hoping you'd be here and you'd bring us chocolates like you did one year. I didn't forget.
It's Valentine's Day, right? I would have
Right?
I would have done that. Yeah. Well, I was also remiss. I have to give a shout out to my dad. Turns 85 tomorrow. I gave him my budget as I do for the past 20 plus years, and he hit the number on the head when I said, Dad, I'm going to be at 12 million, and I'm starting off at this. And he was like, 1%, under 1%, you're good.
Wow.
So at
Good for
85,
him.
he's still. I got to give him credit. He's still
Give him the
on it.
capital thing to go through one more time then.
Yep. I'll ask him. So on the administration, our request is 6,975, just under 7 million. If you remember, the bulk of it is our pavement management program at 3.5 million. Last year it was 3. Year before that it was 2.5. And 2 years ago I'd given you the analysis as to where we were going. We had been at 2.5 million for 20 years. I couldn't hold that number anymore. I couldn't hold it at 20 million with $20 million with 20 years of growth and change, I should say, or inflation. So we stepped into it, and this is kind of an average for the next couple of years that we'll be able to hold this 3.5 million going forward. This year alone, I've got about just over $4 million worth of work, but I've got some money saved from last time. I still got about 700,000 left and I'm going to be able to use that with this 3.5 to get me to that 4.2. I've really got between 4.2 and 5.1, but Lou and I and Jimmy Peck are trying to reduce that down to the 4.2, 4.3 number.
Right.
So we have we also have ADA improvements at 350,000.
Well, wait a second. Wait, time out.
Yeah.
So you have $700,000 left from last year, $2.5 million budget. So why is that? You couldn't get to it?
No. I try to leave that for the first bid coming out. And then since I work on a kind of a calendar year, I kind of leave a little bit so I don't have to come back. And then the first bid out is that first shot. And then the next bid takes the rest of it. The next couple of bids take the rest of it. Because I'm on a fiscal year, but you know, we're kind of your number comes into me late and I've already got to be out. If I go out in May, when actually this number comes to us, I'm going to be way behind them. And on average, we pay somewhere on the order of $30,000 to $40,000 on a $1 million contract for coming out late. So I like to come out early with the first contract, get that savings, and then the next contracts try to slot them in when contractors are hungry. So I keep asking, keep my finger on the pulse as to where they are. So we'll do bids throughout the year in order to keep them hungry, and then we do one last one in the fall when they're looking for that closer. So they're looking for the one in September that's going to take them to November. We want that closer, and they want a closer, so the numbers come back down again as well. So we keep trying to look and see where the best place is for us.
Yeah, I remember you've explained this before.
Yep.
So, but you think this coming year is going to be 4.2 million, but
Right.
then you're back to a 3 million cruise
Yes.
altitude? Okay.
Yeah, it really fluctuates based upon, so we're looking at what happened 10 years ago and 20 years ago, right? So what happened at those times is reflecting now going forward on the roads that we're doing. So that's why it's kind of a little bit up and down. So if we did, X amount of roads back 20 years ago, I'm doing X amount of roads, or trying to do X amount of roads again this coming year. Within reason, we add roads or take roads off based upon what we're seeing out there. I had Lou and Jimmy driving the roads before the winter, and it might be a completely different look post-winter, especially if we get into a lot of freeze and thaw. But at that point in time, we saw that we might be able to move some things around. So we do that each year, take a look throughout the year, and then do a hard look in November with the list that we have that we know is coming forward. That's when I come up with my estimate for you. And then we look again in the spring right before we go out.
So Tucker, I just want to make sure I'm following. You've got the 6.9 request here, 6.975, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're saying we think we have a credit of 700 from being underspent this year. Did I hear that right? or
Well,
not?
it's not really a credit because I got 4.2 sitting out there that I got to do. So it's really not a credit. All I did was take the delta between the two.
Add it to next year's bid. So instead of 3.5, it's going out at 4.2. So he needs the 700 to do it.
Okay. Well, I'm just I want to do the math on the 5 million you're going to save.
Oh, I'm not there yet. So let me get there. And it's actually going to be probably a little bit better.
I was all excited about the 700.
Yeah, no, it's in a different slide. So we're going to get
Gotcha.
to that. So and then I have ADA improvements, 350,000. This is for the walkway between the parking lot between the turf field and Dunning Stadium and Lapham Community Center. That whole walkway's got to be redone according to the DOJ. That's the monies that we have for that. We're going to be changing it from an asphalt walkway to a concrete walkway so we can make sure that the grades, and specifically the cross slope, is correct. Then we have $300,000 for parking lot improvements. That is slated for the Lapham Community Center and the western parking lot at the Lapham Community Center. We have that under redesign right now, trying to make, right now it's very inefficient. Used to have an island in it, used to have a tree, took down the tree, the island's still there. It's very inefficient on that site. And given all the usage that is at Lapham, for Lapham itself, for Capo, for the turf fields, we need to we need to maximize that space. So that parking lot is for that. I've got sidewalk improvements at 750,000. Deanna asked me to do an analysis of where we are on our sidewalks, just existing sidewalks needing to be replaced. That is it. And we have just under $5.4 million worth of sidewalk replacement to do over the next 5-7 years. It's the last bit of the items. We have a very good handle on our paving. We got a good handle on our buildings. We got a great handle on our bridges and our smaller bridges. Sidewalks is the last thing that we started to focus on and concentrate on. And we've got about $5.355 million worth of, I did the calculation this morning, of work out there at present dollar value. So I'm asking for 750. This is going to take in the area Southwood Drive. We've got to do about $200,000 worth of pedestrian ramp improvements on the sidewalks up and down South Avenue. That's a DOJ mandate based upon once you pave the road, you've got to make the handicap ramps or the curb ramps themselves accessible. And then we have another area off of Main and Cherry to work on. So then I have $250,000. This is for maintenance and construction of what are called bridges under 20 feet. They're basically our culverts that run underneath all of our roads. And the last look that we did when we went through, we pulled 4 off the list. And the first 2 that we picked were the Lakeview Avenue culvert, which is now looking like it's going to be it's an entire replacement. And we have one other that we're trying to work through that might be a replacement as well. So we're trying to get to each culvert and repair them quicker and earlier before they get into a replacement situation. Then we have traffic signal intersection improvements. We have 2 traffic signals in town, Park and Pine and Park and Elm. Both of them are town owned. Every other signal in town is state owned and state run, state maintained. These are our 2, and they've been in place for 20 plus years. We need to take a look at them with the thought to replace. We're getting to that point. We had some contractors working on one of them, said it looked like a virtual rat's nest inside, and they were becoming concerned with the actual equipment itself, and getting to its end of its useful life, being needed to be replaced. So we've got $100,000 for that, and we have $50,000 slated for additional intersection improvements, engineering wise, at the intersection of Farm and 106, which is our next line. The intersection improvements for construction at 1.5 million.
Tiger, can I just interrupt
Sure.
you for 1 second? So for the traffic lights on Park and Pine and Elm,
Yep.
were they going to be considering 4-way stop sign intersections for those intersections?
That's a great question. So that came up during the Board of Selectmen meeting because that came out of the Jeff Speck discussion.
Exactly. Yes.
And Jeff Speck, so we went out for a proposal. Maria and I went out for a proposal, an RFP, to look at that to see whether or not we could go to 4-way stops. And they came back with, I think the proposal was around $40,000 to $50,000 just to study it. We felt that was a little bit high, a little bit exorbitant. And Jeff had said, well, all you need to do is just turn off the light and then see. So basically just turn it off and test it. Takes a little bit of courage to do that. And we're looking at possibly turning off one of the lights, making it a 4-way stop, and then analyzing what happens at that time. So you are correct. We might not necessarily need the money. The money's here in case that analysis fails. We'll still be back to a traffic signal situation. But we are looking at that possibility of changing them back to a 4-way stop, or an all-way stop, I should say, because Park and Pine would be a 4-way stop. Park and Elm would be a 3-way stop, 4-way if you include the driveway of the train station.
So when will that analysis be resolved?
We're working through. We would like to have the consultant that is looking at the signals overall to help us with that at a much reduced rate from the original RFP that we had put out. So that's the thought, is to bring them on board and have them look at that initially and see if we don't have to go any further. If we don't have to go any further, then we stop. We say, well, now we're looking at having to remove it. How much is it to remove the equipment and then install the 4-way stop? So that'll be part of the analysis.
Is your question about, we can approve this and not fund it? There won't be any money unless they have a need.
Yeah.
He's not going to spend the money if he doesn't have the need.
All right.
Right. So I won't bring it to the Board of Selectmen for approval.
That is to go to you.
Right,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and then we would bond it and
If they do, if they do it, if they don't, they don't.
and then we won't bond it.
Dan, right? We got that?
But it's still in the budget.
Yeah.
So it's still 6.9 million.
He's got 5 million coming up.
We're looking for-
You gotta wait for
Right.
the end of the movie.
We're not there yet, Chris. I got a couple left to go, and then we'll get there. So this next one is intersection improvements, $1.5 million. This is for the intersection of 106 and Farm Road, Old Stanford and Farm Road. This is a grant. So Maria and I were able to get the initial approval from our technical advisory group at Westcog for funding for this intersection, this intersection improvement. It will then go to the Westcog the governing board that Deanna sits on for approval, and then it'll go to the state. And if the state gives us a commitment to fund letter, we will then go forward to pursue this work. If we do not get the commitment to fund letter, we will not do the work. So this grant, this isn't even included in your 5 million, but this grant is basically 1.5 off the 6.9. I'm at 5.4. But because it's completely separate, it would be state funded at that point in time. And again,
Okay.
if we don't get approval of the grant, we're not going to do the work. So I'm actually now at $6 million. And then the rest, I've got small, our guide rail improvements. That's an ongoing repair situation. Signage improvements, same thing. Town parcel surveys. We just finished an RFP to do the entire campus at 394 Main Street. That's our highway department transfer station and wastewater plant in the landfill. And then we have $50,000 for the schoolhouse patio replacement that we've been working on for about a year or so. I don't know if you have any questions on any one of them.
I might have missed parking lots for 300.
The parking lot, that's the Lapham Community Center. So the Lapham Center itself, the large parking lot at the Lapham Center needs to be replaced along with the western lot. The lot as you come to Lapham, as you come around the corner, come around the turn to Lapham, Lapham's directly in front of you. It's the parking lot to the right. So it's the big lot and the parking lot to the right.
Got it.
And on the sidewalk improvement, so you said you have $5.3 million identified, and your
Right.
5 plan is 2.5 million. So this is a 10-year project.
Approximately, yeah. You know, I'd like to shorten it a little bit, but yeah, I'd like, I just finished that analysis this morning, so our out years might adjust accordingly going forward. But it's the next call that we're getting. So from the residents themselves, it's the most active call that we're getting is to repair the sidewalks.
Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Okay.
All right. So if we go to town buildings, we're at 7,985, up from a $5 million ask last year. The first item is $135,000. It's a 2-phase project this year and next year for carpeting and flooring replacement at the town hall. The town hall gets a lot of use, and we're looking at having to replace the carpeting and the flooring going forward itself. We have $4 million for HVAC replacement at Waveney House. A number of years ago, we did an analysis. We did an engineering analysis as to what would be necessary to replace the AC, well, actually the heating and the ventilating. We don't have AC. This would bring in AC as well at Waveney House. Right now, while the boiler is giving us some issues at times, and certain of the infrastructure is giving us some issues, it's a very, very large capital ask, and this is the one where I'm thinking that we can go out. I don't know exactly when we're going to need to do it. The system will fail at some point in time. We have a plan in place, and at that point in time, we can drain the system, use the building during the non-winter months, and construct the new system in the winter months itself. It's about the best scenario that we can come up with. This scenario is to use the attic and the basement. They use the attic for the second floor, basement for the first floor, so we don't have to do any piping or anything, any ductwork in between the two. So the top will feed the floor below, and the bottom will feed the floor above. And we think that it's a very nice plan to finish the HVAC. Everything is in the walls. It's all concrete walls, concrete and iron, concrete and steel. So it's a very difficult replacement. But we feel that until there's a definitive need, we'll continue to keep this right at the forefront to bring forward at at a time when we need it. The next is the Waveney House exterior improvements for 1.3 million. This was the second phase. And in speaking to Joe feels that we have enough money left over from the first phase to carry to the second phase. And then we would like to put $500,000 in next year's budget in case there's some still issues with the building that we're not able to tackle with the monies that we have left. So that would
So you're
take that
saying take
1.3 out.
1.3 down to,
Take the 1.3 down to 0, put 500 in the 28 budget.
on the 28 budget.
The 28 budget, yeah, and then take
You
the
could put $1
4
million in the
million
28
out.
budget. We'll talk about that a year from now.
Yes,
Okay,
Right.
so it goes to 0. Gotcha.
right, and then the
2
4
million in the
million, the 4 million would go to 0, and that's your 5.3 million. If I add the $1.5 million grant, I'm at 6.8. So, so at
Game
that point in
changer.
time, I'm actually lower than by about $2 million from our ask from last year. Then we have 360,000.
Tiger,
Yeah.
hold on. I just got a message from Chris Kaiser. Something's happened with the system and we're about to lose everything for 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to lose
Oh.
all connectivity. I think we should just keep going. He's not sure exactly when it's going to happen. Something got fouled up clearly, so maybe just keep going until
Right.
that happens. But I just
Okay.
wanted you to be forewarned if we lose you. That's
Okay.
all.
I'll
Okay,
try to
give
go
us all the
fast.
cuts now.
Yeah.
We're out of time.
Right. So the next is we have $360,000 for exterior doors at Waveney. It's a very large number. This is for the front door, and then for the door that leads off of the breakfast nook, which is the bar during most events, out to the back patio. It almost doubled in size from when we started the work on the ADA improvements. We are still looking at different ways to tackle this situation or bring this cost down, but at present, through 2 suppliers, that number continues to stand at 360,000 for mostly the materials alone. It's the install is difficult, but not that difficult. It's mostly the materials.
Okay.
We have $300,000 for more abatement at Waveney House for the drainage and the waste piping. And then we have $875,000 for the powerhouse reconstruction. This is that allotment that the town, to get the town to the 1.5 million.
Just
Joe's
before
been
you
working-
leave that, we're not covering that any further tonight.
No,
Rutgers, okay. And obviously everyone remembers that's agreement we made a year ago, but they still have to make sure that they raise the funds to meet the balance. Anything you want to add to this?
They're pretty much, they're within $20,000.
Okay.
and they're confident they're gonna get that too.
When they get there, we'll have this budgeted. Exciting. Good.
okay. And then we have $550,000 for the education building at the Nature Center. This is to upgrade the education building, split it up into classrooms, and add ADA compliant bathrooms for both gender specific bathrooms, men and women, and then specific age bathrooms for the classroom. This is a split with the Nature Center. Town is 250,000. Nature Center is 300,000. So you'll see that in the other column, which is not factored into my my overall numbers. So it actually reduces the town's expenditure by about another 300,000. And then we have $375,000 to begin the engineering phase of the plan to take down the old incinerator buildings. We have 2 incinerator buildings at the transfer station. We have the brick one, which is the animal control building. It shouldn't be said written old incinerator. That is the old incinerator from 1950. And then we have the old incinerator building from 1970 that the swap shop is in and our salt storage area is in. Both of them comprise an area inclusive of the top of the highway department of about an acre. So it's a very, very expensive piece of land that has 2 buildings on it that are definitely beyond their useful life and need to be taken down. So we want to begin the engineering phase strictly to look at what the plan would be to take these buildings down and how we would be able to take them down. And we feel it's a necessary first step. We already the Board of Selectmen approved a survey of the entire area. That's part of what we would consider a master plan for the area. We need a survey. Board of Selectmen approved that earlier this week, and we'd like to go forward with the engineering for this work. The buildings aren't getting any younger. And we're looking at having to do a new roof on the animal control building for $100,000 on a building that really isn't suited for an animal control building. I don't want to put any money into a building that I should just necessarily take down, and then be able to use that space for a proper salt dome, a better swap shop, other things that the town might need or the department might need. So that's our ask. We've had that
The
sitting out
cost
there
of
for
this
a time.
study is 375,000.
Yes,
Maria's right here.
right. The overall look to take down the buildings is around 4.5 at best.
Yeah, I saw that.
Saw
yeah.
that.
Right. So that's why the engineering is about 10%, to start us off. It's going to be a very large expenditure, but the building itself is not getting any older, and it sits directly over the highway department. So where the men eat lunch, 26 guys eat lunch, right above it is the transfer station.
Yeah.
No, actually with the incinerator building, not the transfer station.
Okay.
Anything else any other questions on town buildings?
Any other questions on the buildings? I don't know that I followed you on the nature center.
The
Did you
Nature
say-
Center was, I'm sorry. So the Nature Center is their education building. They're looking to divide, they have 2 large rooms, and they're looking to divide them up into smaller classrooms, be able to service more students at a better ratio, and then increase that way it will increase their programming. The town has a responsibility to put ADA accessible bathrooms in the building. The Nature Center has responsibility to make the changes for the building itself to suit their needs as far as, if they want, what kind of classrooms they want and what bathrooms would be necessary for that classroom. The town's, as the landlord, our responsibility ends with just making sure that the building is compliant. So men's and women's bathrooms, gender specific. So the overall construction cost is about $550,000. We're splitting that up into about a $250 for the town, $300 for the Nature Center itself.
Okay, but this has the whole 550 on.
It
in
does,
this.
but in the other column, it should have 300. I thought it did.
It's split.
50.
350 and 200. Sorry.
I know, but what you're telling me though is the town doesn't have to cover the 350.
Yeah.
Right. But I have to have the whole money because the Board of Selectmen has to approve it and it has to be in the account for me to spend it.
So he'll advise. I think Bill came to this board, like, is he?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Bill Flynn came and presented this.
Yep.
Yeah.
We saw that. Yep. Yeah. I'm not debating the project. I was just
The numbers.
asking the accounting. It seems like it's 350 too high then in our total.
Well,
got that. Where's the credit? Don't we get a credit back when they?
That's a town building, so.
I thought that they were paying for 350. We were paying for 200. Or
Yeah,
if I heard that right.
anything in other, we don't pay for.
Project's gonna be 550, but we would only bond it for 200.
But it totals up to 500, 550. That's why I'm looking at column A.
We look
Okay.
at bonded and tax supported. We do not look at other. So total is just what the overall. So look at these 2 columns. This is just telling you what the whole project's, everything that's being done.
Okay. I like that. Okay. Got it.
right. So that actually reduces me down even further. So I'm getting to the 30s time. So I think I'm about 7 million now. I'm
That's
not
what I
quite sure.
heard you say, and that's why I didn't follow it. That's why we went back there. Now it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay, nice try.
That's why this intersection
It's
improvement,
1.5. Yeah, that's
It's
not.
in the
It's
other
another.
column.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
and that's why we don't have to consider it, because it's all contingent upon getting a grant.
Yeah.
Aha,
Yeah, that's it.
I see what you
You can't
guys are
take
doing.
that 1,000,005 off of the 19.5.
Yes, they
The
can do that as
total.
well. So
You can't. You can take the 6.8 off for sure, or the
5.3.
the 5.3 for sure comes off the 19.8 or the
That's
19.5. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Watch this. 5.3
Yeah.
comes off the 19.5.
And why is, just sorry, this is because I'm now walking back on Public Works Admin and Engineering. The parking lots has 300 and other. On page
Right. I
20.
think that's coming out of the parking fund.
Coming from the parking fund? Yeah, sorry.
There we go. Thank you. I knew there was. Thank you.
Yeah, talking about the other column.
Yeah.
I just asked that question.
I didn't hear.
On
it.
the 300, that was the Waveney.
Sorry, we're
We're in the
not
same-
paying attention, obviously.
Okay,
We're
all right.
focused
I
on-
have 5.3 from the bonded column. Is that right?
That's correct.
And then there were others.
And there were others. Yeah.
John had a couple things too. Okay, great. Well, that's good. Don't get me wrong. That's terrific. Your dad will get us another million. Okay, so what else you got?
The next is the highway department.
Yeah.
So we'll give you a picture of, thank you. We received on December 12th, 12/12, our backhaul. It almost looks exactly like the picture that we presented, which I like. So this was our new backhaul. That was that $640,000 purchase. So we just wanted to say thank you. We have it. It's in our bays. It just fits. So it's perfect. And we'll be rolling it out this season and going through our work with that. But thank you. So the highway department is at 719,000, down from the 1.1 of last year. We have a two-wheel drive dump sander. It's a 2011 International, has 61,000 miles, driving around in a circle. It's about 7,000 hours, and it fought about 222 storms. We have a lowboy dump truck. That's a replacement as well. It's a 2018 Chevy with 60,000 miles. This is our daily garbage truck. Basically, when they become their daily garbage truck, that's their last leg before they head out. Each one of these will be traded in. We're not increasing our amount of fleet or our number of vehicles themselves. We're just, and the number itself doesn't take into account the trade. We don't know what the trade would be, but if the trade comes in, it just comes off the top and the money goes back to the town. The next is a new ask. It's a skid steer. We were asked, what's a skid steer? It's basically a Bobcat. If you've seen a Bobcat, small little excavator loader. This is going to help us with our drainage work, sidewalk snow clearing, parking lot clearing, and then it also will help us with our manhole replacement. There's an attachment that goes on the skid steer that will actually, it's a circular attachment. It's a drill bit itself, a big, large drill bit that'll actually drill out the manhole, pull the manhole out in its entirety, and we're able to then replace the cover in one shot with a circular cut, which is much better for repaving. The state is actually mandating on their roads that any manhole that's adjusted has to be adjusted with a circular cut. So all of our sewer lines that are in state roads that have to be adjusted, we have to do it with a circular cut. We have a 20-ton tag-along trailer. This is a new trailer. We've been utilizing contractors' trailers. We've been asking contractors to borrow their trailers for years. And this will allow us to have our own trailer, be able to bring our material and our equipment out to each job site when we want to, not necessarily when the contractor is available. We have $25,000 for equipment refurbishing. We put this line in our budget a number of years ago. It's probably the best money that we spend because it allows us to keep our trucks longer and in better service longer. And then we have $25,000 for our annual road striping. Then we have $10,000 to replace our salt brine tanks. We went to salt brine in 2007. They're 20 years old. Our supplier is suggesting that they be replaced. We're in agreement that they're past their useful life at this point in time. And it's a necessary add, as you can see from the winter that we are having. And then we have $87,000 to replace our fuel dispensing unit. We have the fuel pumps, our gas and diesel, down at the highway department, and we're running into problems now dispensing gas to the point where our mechanics are actually having to stand out in the cold and do it with a pony pump, where they actually put the pump into the tank and then pump out from there with a man standing in the cold for while we line up every truck as they drive through. So it's actually coming at a perfect time to replace. It came with us from the old location when we were over at Avalon, came over, and we've been at the new location for about 20 years now. So it's a good time to replace. So I don't know if you have any questions about anything on the highway side. I know Luke's in the audience.
Above the road striping here for 25,000, we have signage and striping above that of $25,000.
Right. So it's basically, it's more signage. It says signage and striping, but it's mostly signage itself. So, and then
the striping.
Yeah. Yeah, what we did is we put the road striping into the capital side because we were having difficulty getting the contractor to come out. While we had a contract with them, we're a very small entity. They do $3 million worth of work. We're looking at $25,000 to $50,000 worth of work. So we asked them to slot us in when they can. So while they're driving through town, going to another town, they'll come in and do work. Well, sometimes that worked in the fiscal year that we were in, and it didn't. So most of the time we had a contract with them, and they would not finish by the end of the fiscal year. It was in the operating side. We would lose the money and then have to go to the next year's allotment. And it became very, very difficult to manage. Now with it being in the capital side, it can actually carry over. The contract can carry over. We don't have to worry about losing the contract, doing a new PO, a new appropriation or a new approval from the Board of Selectmen. So that's the reason why it's in the capital side.
Okay. Anybody?
Anything else on highway?
I think we're okay. And just one last time, I want to make sure when we go really approve, we got that reconciliation for capital approved, not spent. And if there's anything there that we can use here. Okay.
By the way, Tiger, you want to mention status of current capital projects this fiscal year?
Yes. So we're Nick sits on the infrastructure and building committee. We did a project. We have a project sheet that I give out to them that shows all of our contracts throughout the year. We're almost closed on every single project, and we're well under budget, not just budget and contingency, but budget. So and then that was the very same for the 2024 calendar year. So the 24 calendar year, 25 calendar year, we were under budget overall on all of our projects. In total, we had some projects that obviously used some of the contingency, but the majority of it, we never had to use contingency, and we were under budget on each one. I don't have the numbers in my head, Nick. I'm sorry, or I would mention that, but
I have them.
Yeah, there you go. So you can.
Capital projects to date, 1.6 million under budget, and contingency of 1 million unused.
Thank you, Nick.
Sure. I mean, doing a great job. It's amazing.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I should have had that slide. I should have taken credit, but I appreciate the help.
Yeah, you could have thrown another 2.6 into the pot.
Anything else on highway? The next is transfer station. We have one ask. It's to replace the tires that we have for the loader with foam filled loader tires. They can actually be utilized on the next machine. We have solid tires on one of our machines, and a solid tire basically shakes the machine up and the operator itself, and reduces the life of the truck, reduces the life of the loader. So we have in the capital budget in the out years a new loader replacement. We were able to push that out about 2 years with this purchase. So we get this purchase where we will reduce the wear and tear on the existing loader that we have, and then we can take these tires and put them on the next loader. So we'll have a set to move forward with. So this was an ask when Lou took over. He went to the men, asked them what their feeling was, and they came forward with this. That's a very good ask, a very good idea to be able to extend the life of our existing equipment. The loader is $200,000 or more, and with this piece with these tires, we'll be able to extend its life.
But when you buy a new loader, doesn't it come with tires?
It comes with tires, but they don't last the life of the machine.
So you're going to take tires off the old machine.
Going to take tires off the old machine. There'll be a spare for the new machine, and when the new machine's
tires aside for a while and run the new machine on the new tires. And when those tires wear out, you'll take the other ones out of storage and stick them on the machine.
Exactly. Save ourselves some money.
They're filled with air, so when we're in C&D with nails and lag bolts and stuff like that, these foam filled ones don't go flat.
Mm-hmm.
So the new loader we purchased would have air-filled tires. So this is just it would be an added expense when the new loader came anyhow with the foam filled.
So you would take the tires that it came with, the OEM tires, and replace them with these because they're better.
Actually, we would purchase it and then have an add-on of foam filled tires, and then coming from like John Deere, wherever Komatsu, the tires that are filled with air wouldn't even come to us. It would just be an extra cost to have those foam filled.
Because you already have them.
Well, no, because that when we buy a new loader,
You need them.
yes, you need them because otherwise we'll have flat tires every 2 seconds. And then
Right. I get it.
Dogs with you. Yeah.
By the way, the Wi-Fi thing has all been rectified. We did go down briefly.
No, I didn't notice. It's great. The,
Stay on.
so John went through parks maintenance, and recreation. So the next is the wastewater plant. Nick's capital request is $1,256,000. He has $36,000 for various pumps. We have our another phase of our motor control electrical rehab at $20,000, and we have our zinc study that I mentioned earlier. This is with AECom. This is money well spent. This has been able to keep us inside permit, and then stave off a large capital expenditure. We have $30,000 for sewer rehab. We do about a third of our system. We have 33 miles of sewer in town. We do about a third of our system every year, where we go out, TV it, clean it, jet it, and then while the contractor's out there, we see areas that need to be repaired or rehabbed. We take care of it right there. And then the two large ticket items, we have our next phase of engineering at $400,000 and $500,000 for next phase of remediation. So we're one phase ahead on engineering, and then so we'll be looking at going for the next engineering for next year's capital expenditure. The remediation is for the monies we just spent on engineering for the upcoming phase. And then we have $100,000 for sewer relining. We're finding that this is money well spent. We just did sewer relining on Main Street and Cross Street, and we've got some areas already tagged for this coming season. And then we have our second polymer system. We have two polymer systems at the plant itself, and this is to replace that. This is an original piece of equipment. So the plant was commissioned back in '98, a little bit before '98. So we're on our 28th year, and we're looking to replace that polymer system.
Is the $500,000 a year still a good assumption for the INI for the?
Based
Maria?
on AECOM's, yes, correct, based on AECOM's bottom line.
Yep.
But you'll notice that just the next fiscal year of 27, 28 would be our last year for the evaluation.
I saw that. Yep. Yep. And the rebedding, the grant for the ultraviolet and.
Right, so there's still a couple of steps
Okay.
that need to come with that promise of those dollars. And then we can bring AECOM back on board and get them back up and running. They will have to make adjustments based on the fact that there are going to be funding requirements. So there'll have to be some adjustments made to their plans.
But shouldn't that be in our out years?
So
That's
I'll let you.
that was already funded. So
All
everything
of
was
it?
funded.
I know we
everything
did
was
Not all
funded.
of it.
I think we did some of it. I don't
We
remember.
did 4, right? Was
Did
it 4
4.
in there?
We had 1. You did 4 to make the 5. You know, the 1 was the engineering. We did the 4. And then the prospect of this grant came in. So we've been chasing the grant. Deanna has done a nice job with our congressman in chasing this grant to get it. We just got the grant. Now we're waiting for them to assign a grant controller. Basically, we think it's going to be the EPA. Then the EPA will then assign someone as a grant administrator, an employee, to then work with us to make sure that our specifications meet the grant requirements. Then we'll go out to bid. So that was what Maria was talking about. Once we get who the grant is going to come from, be addressed from, likely the EPA. We get a grant administrator. They work with us, and we have AECOM amend our specifications, and we'll go out to bid.
So of the money that was approved, that's been is budgeted, but we haven't funded it.
Right, we haven't bonded.
We haven't bonded anything. Okay.
No.
Fine. But I didn't realize we did 100%. So that's actually a surprise. Okay.
Although think about how many years ago we did this. So
Yeah. No, I know. I didn't realize it 100%. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought we had withheld some, so that's good. Okay, Tiger, anything else?
Can we move that last one, the 50,000 into bonded? Pump station control.
The pump station control panel, sorry. Yeah, I think. It's right at the cusp, but it's a replacement of the control panel at our pump stations. So it fits because it's a long-term capital improvement.
Yeah, what, that's the question. What's the
20 plus years? So,
okay, there you go. That's more than 10 years.
Does it?
right.
does it
Yeah,
matter
we're
that
replacing.
it's Three? Is there one? I thought there like, it represents multiple pump stations.
There are 3 pump stations. Yes.
Does it matter that it's 3 individuals? So that's great. That's right. Kind of like the radios. Right. Yep. Yeah.
There you
And that-
go.
Basically, yep, we're at it. So if you go by what we were at, we're at 0.88% without the sewer. We showed that our capital increase is actually going to go below 0 if we take that 5.3 million off, which then makes our increase overall around just 1%. So year over year. So I don't know if you have any other questions or
Any questions, anyone? Bob or Michael? Jan? I'd like to start with the team online.
No questions here.
Alan or anybody? Maria? Victor? I think great job. I
Right.
think a great work all the way around, operating and capital, honestly. It's that's really helpful.
You know, I think it's amazing how much these guys get done for the amount of money that we give them.
Thank you.
They should be an example to all other departments of the town.
I mean, overall, I mean, kudos to the town and to you. I mean, the overall increase was very modest for all the town expenses. So, and just great job keeping the town beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate
No
everyone's
removal.
patience during this winter. It's been tough, you know.
I mean, April, we're all going to look at it and go, oh my God, what will happen here? Okay, anything else?
No.
I don't think there are any minutes for the meeting.
Yeah, I have some.
Oh, you have some? Okay, good. For Tuesday.
But they weren't on the tablet. I don't
All
think
right.
so. That's the problem.
Can we just approve them next? I don't want to do that way. Let's approve
Yeah,
them.
they're not on.
We'll approve them in the
tablet,
next meeting when everybody has them. Okay, anything else then, Tucker, that we have to cover? All right, well, I have the 5.3 and the other question was the 1.2 million for the PA, for the system, communication system at Saks was on the table. That had come out, that had been cut. Well, that's in here, right?
No, we took the.
That's not here.
communications- We took it out.
Okay, all right.
At the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. Well, we don't have any other. Oh, no, John, you had a few things of capital. Were there a couple cuts? You had a couple reductions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ann's got those. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that's where we are. Thank you. Productive week. With that, I'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Nick? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. So moved. Thank you all. Thanks, Tiger, again. Thank you.